just got back from a turtle rescue mission, like 30 seconds before this podcast. Today has been kind of a kooky day in the sense that our Wi-Fi went out. We had a really big storm here in Florida, and so we lost internet connection. Always some type of technology with me. Listen, I know this is what it's like being a cosmic wizard. Technology just combust around me, I suppose. But so Austin has been working because he works from home too. We really need Wi-Fi. It's really crucial to what we're doing here. But I was like, well, that's okay. I'll go do a couple other errands. I dropped some stuff off at UPS, and on the way home, I was driving, and there was this big turtle that was trying to cross this very, like, a busy highway. It was a two-way street, but like a highway. And his little head was poking out over the white line just as I was driving by, and I had to swerve so that I didn't hit him. And I immediately got to the neighborhood. I said, Austin, get in the car, put your gloves on. We've got to go save this turtle. And he puts his gloves on. Hops. Actually, the gloves were his idea. He was like, I got the perfect gear. And we hopped in the car, and somebody had actually already saved him. So it was good. It was a successful rescue mission. We were prepared. But I'm laughing because I've had a very out of order day. Typically I record early in the morning. So if you're catching me on YouTube and we lose light, the sun is setting, and I'm making it happen. Okay. We're making it happen today, doing the best I can. And the turtles are safe. When you live on the beach, fun fact, there is a lot of turtle protocol that you do. Like, there are certain lights that you cannot use. They're big turtle support community down here. So we absolutely do not want them to get in the road and get injured. So it's a whole thing. Anyways, welcome back, you guys, to AG University Podcast, a school of intuition, a school from the cosmos. And just by hitting play today, you are tuning in to an intuition activation. This is my first week back doing one-on-one readings, and it was really awesome. I've gotten to connect with some fellow dancing unicorns so far this week, and I have several more to go this month. And I got a really sweet message from one of my girls I did a reading with, and she said, this was so awesome, but oh my gosh, I was so exhausted even just doing after like receiving the reading. Like, how the heck do you do this? I was like, I know, it's because it's a activation. It activates your intuition. And so just doing kind of that one-on-one work kind of recalibrates you. So sometimes people will feel really energized, or they might feel extremely tired. But I always kind of tell people that beforehand. I'm like, go easy for the rest of your day. Just see how you're feeling. And everyone was like, kind of like, we didn't really believe you, but whoa, in the past, she didn't say that, but in the past, people have been like, I didn't know what to expect. And, but anyways, it's been really fun, and all around, across the board, one-on-one readings, this podcast, I always set in a container to help you connect with your intuition, to activate your intuition, and to work with your higher self to deliver any messages that we all need to hear, myself included. Okay. I am not special or unique. We all have the ability to channel our higher selves. So if you are ever interested in learning to channel the Akashic Records, I have a course linked in the show notes, and Bali is officially closed, you guys. We're going to Bali. Last week, my dad was teaching me a little Indonesian. Fun fact, he speaks Indonesian and Dutch because he worked on a cruise ship for many years in his 20s. And so he was the only English speaking person, and he learned other languages. So he's really been quizzing me, wants me to know how to use my manners. He said they'll really appreciate it. I said, okay, Dad. So I took a couple videos, and I'm going to post those to AG University Podcast Instagram if you want to follow. And as always, your lead dancing unicorn, our official mascot, and professor at Anna Grace Newell on all major platforms as well. So let's get into a couple things today. I don't know how much time I have, so enough yapping. I want to jump in to some things that I'm doing to support the best version of me as we enter spring and summer. A couple things. Actually, I thought this would be kind of fun to be sharing things that make me feel more whimsical or magical. That was a trend on TikTok, like cute little things that I do that make me feel, more fairy, whimsical, magical. Because I really feel that's the point. The point is not for us to run around frantic, even though that happens. It's easy for that to happen. But the point is for us to enjoy the tiny moments that make up the course of a day. When you wake up in the morning, how can you add a little sparkle, a little pizzazz? A couple things I've been loving. None of this is sponsored, by the way. I will link the products or anything that I talk about in the show notes, but these are genuinely things that I just enjoy. I have rose water that I spritz on my face every morning when I wake up. And I program the rose water. And you can do this with any of your products. Beauty products are always a really great opportunity for us to sprinkle in some magic. And roses, actually, when I was doing psychic training, the rose is always a protection. You may realize that roses are very symbolic in lots of Disney movies, and there's always a rose. There's always a rose, lots of just movies, and it's a very symbolic flower. And I'm sure there's tons of different meanings, but the way that I was taught was the rose is a psychic protection. And so I spritz my face and my auric field, kind of the space around my head, with rose water. And I always say a little blessing over the rose water. And it's literally just, I'm not even sure if there's any other ingredients in it besides rose water. But I just bless it. And when I say, I set an intention, it's simply saying a little prayer. So however you want to feel that day, just say, I'm infusing this rose water with the essence of joy, or I'm infusing this rose water with the essence of play and ease, and may all day long love flow to me. Very simple. And so it is, right? And so I'll spray my rose water, and it's just a way for me to connect in with that playful, fairy, feminine energy. I've really been trying to connect with my feminine side. And I think everyone needs to connect with their feminine side. Okay. We live in a hyper masculine world. I don't care who you are. We're meant to enjoy beautiful moments. Okay. So no matter who you are or how you identify, you're meant to live a beautiful life. And that's when we can channel some of our feminine flowy. So that's one thing that I do at the start of the day that brings me joy. And if I'm having a moment where I want to reset after travel, I'll do the same thing with my rose water and just spray it all over me and kind of imagine my energy getting lighter. I always have my energetic protection courses linked in the show notes if that's something you really want to know, the exact ways to protect your energy outside of the rose water. All of my courses just use visualization. Okay. Another thing that I've been doing that I told Austin last night when we got in bed, I said, oh, this makes me feel luxurious, just absolutely luxurious. And he was like, love that for you, babe. I'm so happy. But I bought myself a bouquet of small flowers. They're pink roses. I bought 2 bouquets, and I put flowers by my bed. I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know feng shui. I'm not studied in it, but maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad in the world of feng shui. For me, brings me so much joy. Also, I love the idea of roses by the bed, just kind of like another psychic protection. Not that I don't feel protected, but I don't know. There's just something really beautiful about having these flowers beside me. I can smell them while I'm getting ready for bed. It just feels really beautiful and luxurious. And that kind of gets me in that energy of yes, I buy myself flowers. And I also bought myself some really beautiful flowers and put them on my desk this week for all of my readings because they bring magic and energy. And I set up all of my favorite little things. I'm on YouTube. I have my big crystal, and I have all of my seashells that I've collected, and I bring in lots of nature into my readings because the energy that I'm connecting with is obviously, so higher up that I like to bring in some grounding elements. And maybe that could be something that you do wherever you get ready for the day. Bring in something beautiful, whether it's a seashell. I collect rocks. I know that sounds super cheesy and lame, but I brought a lot of rocks. I mean, not a lot, but I just grabbed a couple rocks from the beaches in Positano. The beaches there are actually rock bottom, which is interesting, all rocks, no sand. So I brought a couple rocks, and I just like to collect little things. So it can be free. You don't have to spend a lot of money on crystals, but I just like to gather things outside, and I sort of put them, I have a candle and incense, and I just sort of decorate my areas. I always have 3 crystals by my mirror because mirrors are a portal and also a place where we practice self-love. And so I have a rose quartz, which is love and self-love and beauty. And then I have a little pyrite, which for me symbols abundance. And then I have a black tourmaline, which is one just to absorb any negative energy or protection, the stone of protection. And mostly for me, because I'm on social media all day, I just feel there's a lot of energy coming in and out. So that's why I'm always really big on protecting my energy. I always want you guys to know I protect my energy because I love myself, not because I'm afraid of what's out there. That is a big intentional shift for everyone, because I always tell you guys, I refuse to live in fear and to be afraid of other people's energy. Like, oh, I don't want to go there because like the energy is weird. I'm like, no, I am sovereign. You are sovereign. You are powerful. We are regal, and we can go anywhere because we know how to protect ourselves and take care of ourselves, and we love ourselves. So just my little tidbit. And I always light a candle when I'm doing readings. So I have a nice candle. The brand that I am, let's see, this is Moxie and Grace. Again, not affiliated, but they're super duper clean candles with these really great bamboo wicks. And so when they light, they crackle kind of like a fire. And I love the crackle sound. Moxie and Grace, Moxie and Grace. There's just a small business I connected with. No one's paying me to talk about any of this. So the reason I'm telling you this is I also saw a video recently on TikTok, and it was from another creator sharing about feminine energy. And she said the concept of flowers, if you want someone to buy you flowers, it was like after Valentine's Day. It's like, oh, your man didn't buy you flowers. Well, do you ever buy yourself flowers? And I thought that was so interesting because the concept of men giving women flowers, or whoever, any of your loved ones in your life, is that the women back in the day would collect flowers because they thought they were beautiful. And so they would go out into the field and collect all these flowers and adorn themselves with flowers. And then their suitor or their partner or their, whoever their pursuer would see them collecting flowers and thought, I'll get flowers and I'll bring her flowers because she's adorning flowers. Obviously she likes flowers. And I thought that was something to put back into your ear holes, that like whatever you want people to gift you, or, you know, maybe you want your partner to give you flowers or whatever. It's like, you've got to start adorning yourself with this romance and this beauty, because then they're like, oh, that's what she loves. I'm going to do that for her. You know, sometimes we have to show people how we want to be treated. And this was a concept. I believe it was Margarita. I've mentioned her before. I love her TikTok. I'll also link her below. I was trying to think exactly. I follow a few feminine energy creators, but it's all about enjoying life and slowness and making beautiful moments out of wherever you are, because we're on this journey for a lifetime. Okay. Even if, yes, we have all these goals, but majority of our days are normal days. So how can we enjoy, savor, invite in ease, flow, play every single day? We are not meant to just work and perform and overproduce and just put out all of this energy every single day. So I always want to create a little checkpoint. These are things that have just been making me feel really magical and whimsical. So Margarita said that, just kind of going back to whatever it is that you want people to gift or adorn you with, start adorning yourself with it now. So I bought myself flowers. I put them on my desk, put them by my bed. I thought, I'm going to do this every Sunday. And I went to Whole Foods on Monday. Mondays are my day off, because I typically end up working on the weekends. So Monday is my day of, maybe not a full day off, but a day of rest in a sense. I get acupuncture and just like take care of my vessel, because I start readings all day Tuesday and then all day Thursday. And Wednesday is kind of like a recovery day in between for me to like just do a little like social media maintenance. Anyways, so I went to Whole Foods, and this is a really good challenge for you guys, and talk about romanticizing your life. I feel like the grocery store is a great place to do it, because and do this on a Sunday. Do this like when you have a little time. I know we don't have like tons of time in the world, but like don't go on your lunch break when you got to clock back in 20 minutes. Maybe not the exercise, but going to the grocery store is a great place where for some reason I get to the grocery store, I've got a list, and I turn into freaking just a machine gun. I'm like, this, throw it. It's like, how fast can I get through the grocery store? And I literally thought, I'm going to do something crazy. We're going to do something crazy. I'm going to put on my headphones. I'm going to listen to a little walking meditation, my activations with Mimi. You guys, she's been on the podcast. I'm going to buy myself some flowers. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to like pick things up. I'm going to like smell. I'm going to engage with my food. This is the food that we want to nourish our body with for the whole week. The food that I'm going to cook for my family, right? Might as well, have a little intention. And I really just turned it into this nice little romantic time with myself. I was at Whole Foods. I got a little food from the hot bar. I sat outside. I ate my food by myself while listening to a little meditation, just made it a beautiful experience. And it's something so simple as the grocery store, but it's a place that we can find ourselves going as fast as we possibly can. How fast can we cross off this list? I'm like, why am I in a rush? This is my one, little like 3-hour stretch where I have nowhere to be. And so I think the grocery store is a fun place to romanticize your life because it's something that we all need to do, but it's also an important task. We're nourishing our body. And I was, just connecting with the food and what's in season and just kind of putzing around a little, but it was great. Okay. So that's a really nice way to kind of signal to the body, like, we're going to take a few moments just to go slow. Because remember, when we're constantly rushing through every single task, and I always tell people this, you can brush your teeth 2 ways. Slow and intentional, right? Kind of going slow, or like a freaking rabid raccoon, just frantically brushing the teeth. Either way, you're still going to get the task done. But one way is signaling to your body, oh my gosh, she's rushing. There's a predator nearby. We just can't see it. We've got to run away from something. Something is like coming. She's rushing. Why are we rushing? And so your body is like looking for a threat when there's really no threat there. So whenever I tell people to slow down or go to the grocery and go slower, you're going to the grocery anyways. Just go a little slower, take a breath, take a beat. No one's chasing you. At least I don't think so. And it's a good reminder because whenever I say like slow down, most people are like, well, I don't have time to slow down. I'm like, okay, well, you're going to brush your teeth 2 ways. Let's do it the most intentional way and effective way for the time allotted. So I don't have all the time in the world. I'm actually extremely busy. So when I tell these stories, I'm like, it's a practice for me too. And while I was eating my food, I actually ran into a fellow dancing unicorn. I was on a little solo date and it was really nice. She was like, I'm in the Akashic Records too. I was like, what? Amazing. So it's really fun knowing that this message is finding my people. It was cool. So when you go slow, I find the universe rewards you with beautiful experiences. And I had a really nice day. And I just went to the grocery store. Okay. And my acupuncture, bought myself flowers, put them on my desk, and created a really beautiful space with all of my little trinkets and happies. And I bring grounded energy and I declutter and then make it pretty. And that alone is so good for your nervous system because you're telling your nervous system that, hey, we are safe in this home. And I do not care if you live in a literal shack. I have lived in the ugliest, tiniest apartments, but I have made sure to make them cozy and warm and beautiful and make myself a little cup of tea and do all of the things. Okay. You can make anything beautiful and bring in things from outside that are for free. I don't like to like cut flowers off of like nature or like my neighbor's yards or anything. I try to respect where they're growing, but like you can get some cool rocks or shells or just little happies. Speaking of tea, this is another way that's also whimsical, but powerful. And I learned this actually. Okay. So I tell you guys, I dabble, I go back and forth with caffeine. Like I was a hardcore off caffeine for over a year. And I was like hardcore, no alcohol for 2 years. And then I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I've reestablish my relationship and I feel I can have things in moderation and just be in balance because I am a everything in moderation balance girly. I never want to be like hardcore. No. And I feel like now that my nervous system is way more regulated and much different phase of life, coffee does not bother me. It was kind of it would come up sometimes as an allergen with gluten. I eat gluten now. I don't know if that's like good advice for you guys, but my my blood work is fantastic, perfect. And I just like don't stress over my diet. When I'm cooking at home, I eat gluten free, but like if I go out on the weekends, I have a little, I'm like, whatever. Again, don't take my advice. Listen to your own body. Okay. Cause we're all very different creatures, but I do find the more that I regulate my nervous system, I can have a little bit of everything in moderation. I was never anaphylactic. Okay. Like I was never like my throat would close. It was not that type of an allergy. It was more of a just like underlying inflammation to be very clear. Like if you have an EpiPen, like this does not apply to you. But anyways, so I went to get a coffee a few weeks ago. This is how I kind of came into this. And I got a latte because there's a coffee shop down the street. They make a delicious honey latte. I love the people there. I love the whole experience. When it's a pretty day and the sun's out, like I just love to get out and go to the coffee shop. And it's always kind of crowded, but in a nice way because I chit chat with everyone there. And it's just when you work from home, it's a nice little way to get out and, just see other humans. I'm like, oh, okay. Other people are alive. I'm not just in my hole all day. No, I do love my little office. I don't want her to think I'm talking bad about her, but alas, I get my latte. I wait in line. It's crowded. I wait like 20, 30 minutes for this latte, which was extra long. No big deal. But I walk out and it was like the weirdest. I can't even explain what happened, but I'm walking out the door and I don't know if the person in front of me dropped it too quick or the door just swung back out of nowhere, but it swings back, knocks my latte, my iced latte out of my hand, and it spills all over the ground. And I'm like, okay, well, now I actually do have meetings that I need to tend to. So like I can't get back in line and wait another 30 minutes, an hour for a latte that, let's be real, I could have made it home. Something about their latte, it's just really tasty. So I get in the car. And I don't always do this with everything in my life, but I do whenever like something like a fluke, like I get into a little fender bender or like I spill my drink or something's happening. I'm always kind of like, what, I wasn't in alignment with that. Like, should I have not gotten that coffee? What was happening there? Cause it was really out of the blue. It just like the door just smacked my arm and it was gone. I was like, damn. And my higher self said, you didn't use any intention. You didn't set any intention, and that's a substance, and you didn't even do anything. You just were going to drink it. And I was like, well, yeah, that's what I always do. And I thought about it because I've heard of people talk about doing, like when I drink my cacao, I'm really intentional and I set an intention and I bless it and I like hold it to my heart space. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I do the same with if I have any alcohol, like a glass of champagne, I always imagine, I have a whole alcohol energetic protection course that I'll link in the show notes too. But I have a whole alcohol series where I share different ways I use visualization to just set up my energy so that I'm in alignment with, a high vibration as I go into drinking. And also it helps with like hangovers and also a lot of different ways to protect your aura. So anyways, I always set an intention with everything, but I don't know why I just wasn't doing it with coffee. And it's technically a substance, it's caffeine. And I thought, oh, it's probably another way we can manifest because it affects our vibration, right? It can raise our vibration, lower the vibration. I don't know. It depends on the person and their intention. But I thought, okay, I'm going to set an intention because sometimes coffee can be considered more of a masculine substance. That's why sometimes we get into like a hyper productivity mode. So I've been setting an intention for ease, for play, for flow, for creativity. And what I'll do is I'll stir my straw 3 times to the right. So if I engage in coffee, I always set an intention, and it can be whatever. You don't have to pick the same ones as me. But that I'm in alignment with my body. I'm not going to overdo it. I just bless it and infuse light and my love into the drink. And I started doing this in the morning. So in the morning I've been doing a liver detox tea first thing that's warm. I do a lot of like water, warm lemon water, and just try to hydrate and do all that before I have caffeine. If I have caffeine while I'm doing readings, that's the one thing I always tell people: energy work and caffeine, handshake emoji, no bueno for me. I do not engage in caffeine. That's a personal thing. But on my days off, on my play days, because I find the more relaxed our nervous system is, the more we can receive messages. That's been my personal thing. Only when I'm doing one-on-one stuff. Like some days, if I'm doing like other events or whatever, I have a little matcha, like it's not the end of the world. Remember, we're trying to be 80-20 here. But I have this liver detox tea. It's milk thistle and licorice. When I went and stayed with my friend Helen, she was drinking it every morning. And I was like, that is so smart. Instead of just doing my warm water, I could also support my liver because that's something that has needed tending to in the past. I think everybody's liver needs a little bit of love. The liver is very important and really underrated. And the fact that nobody's really talking about the liver. I didn't know this until I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, how important the liver was. And alas, I ordered this tea and it comes with a little tea bag and it's got a string and it's perfect because I do my little enchantment 3 times. I just kind of go to the right 3 times. You can pick right clockwise. I'm sure there is some very specific way to do it, but I just like intuitively go to the right 3 times. And I say a little blessing and set an intention for how I want to feel. And, something like every day I am more abundant in love, in whatever it is that you want to manifest, abundant in your finances, so you could say that and like turn it to the right. Like every day I'm more abundant. I always say like love, health, and wealth, and go 3 times to the right. And I just think that's a really fun way because obviously, as we know, water carries a vibrational frequency, also carries messages. Hidden Messages in Water is a really interesting book if that is something that speaks to you, because there is scientific data proving that we can actually manifest through water. And tea is water. So that's another little whimsical way that I want you guys to play with some of these rituals and bringing in, because really it brings you into the present moment. It brings in intentionality and all of these things that we're kind of using already. Like, we're already drinking our coffee. We're already doing our tea. Like, why not do a little tiny coffee ceremony and just infuse the coffee with intention and love? Because I'm never going to get on here and tell you guys, like, don't drink caffeine, don't do this, don't do that, because I kind of was in a stricter phase of my life when I was hardcore off everything. And now I'm like, you know what? Everything in moderation, but I can make it the most optimal experience by, I like to say, like a coffee ritual. Or this morning I put on my agenda a cacao ceremony. I drink the Peak Nanduka, and I can link that to cacao, and it's got a little, some mushrooms in it and very low caffeine, really delicious cacao. And I always do a whole ceremony. Like, I play music and I just try to make it really fun and intentional, because that also lifts my vibration. It gives me something to look forward to in the morning. And even the act of having a ceremony or a celebration adds to the dopamine in my brain, instead of just getting like absolutely yeeted on caffeine. I'm like, cause I'm trying to just be like, all right, let's make this sacred. Right. But also a lot of that does bring dopamine into our brain, which is good, but I'm trying to do it in ways that feel intentional. That's the word that I've used about 1,000 times on this podcast so far, but you get what I'm trying to say. Okay. So coffee ritual. We're all about romancing ourselves, making every moment special, intentional, which, by the way, you can do this with anything. You can do this with your pre-workout if you go to the gym. I mean, why not? Right? If your protein shake, like you can infuse anything. I did see a TikTok of a girl saying she would speak her goal body, her goal weight, her goal everything into her water before she went to the gym, and it went really viral. It was funny. Then people started like, making spin-offs and like pouring buckets of water on themselves, saying their affirmations. But I'm like, hey, there is something to that. Basically, I'm in my romance yourself lover girl era, which I think we all need to be in, whether you're single, married, in a relationship. It brings so much more love into the relationship, because that is the feminine role, is to bring more love into relationships. And I will tell you guys that I had the most heart-opening experience of my life. I mean, I felt like I did plant medicine. I didn't. I went on a family vacation with my family, and I recorded a TikTok about this. I don't know what's happened to me, but I was a mess. Was I about to start my period? Yes, but still, I mean, I've had a million periods and I've never been this emotional. I don't know. Everyone was commenting to me like, girl, are you pregnant? I was like, no, I am actually actively on my period, but I still was just wrecked. I posted a video how I was wrecked over my dad, because my dad is literally the sweetest. Every day I am blessed that I have that man as my father. And he just turned 71. My parents had me when they were 40. So I mean, not that that's old, but they're just older. And I always get sad because I'm like, oh, I wish you guys had me when you were freaking 20. I need y'all to live forever. I always get a little emotional at my dad's birthday, because he was like just doing all the sweet dad things. My dad was trying to slip me like $20 in my pocket and was like, in case I don't see you for your birthday, sweetie, here, buy a little something from me, your dad. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, can't handle it. I posted a TikTok of me crying, like telling that story, because it was just so pure. My dad's so wholesome. Like, I don't need $20 from my dad anymore. I feel like I'm back in 5th grade. And that's why it was so wholesome and pure. Like, my dad, I have an extremely capable husband who I freaking love with my whole heart. But there are sometimes where like, I'll just call my dad. I'm like, Dad, my car, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And like, Austin's like, I can do that for you. I'm like, I know, but like, sometimes I just need my dad. I love him. But anyways, I was with my sister, and I have 2 nieces. She had 2 little girls, 2 under 2. And Violet is the first grandchild, first niece, first everything, first. And she's named after me, Violet Grace. I gave her the grace. My sister was like, can we give her your middle name? And I was like, I'm honored beyond. My plant is tickling me behind me. If you see me on YouTube adjusting, this little spider plant is like tapping me on the shoulder. So Violet is our everything. Okay. She's our star. She's the first grandchild, and everyone in the whole family literally worships her. So obviously I've been obsessed with her and adored her, but she's 2.5 now. And the first, year and a half of her life, or especially the first year, she was breastfeeding. Like, she only really wanted to be with my sister, like my sister to hold her. And then my sister got pregnant, has 2 under 2. So now we have Winnie, and Violet's now 2.5. And I mean, it just like the lights turned on this past weekend where I was like, oh, y'all didn't tell me being a long distance aunt was going to wreck me. Absolutely wreck me, because we spent the whole vacation together. She's a whole person. She can talk and communicate, and she just says the sweetest, most wholesome things. Like, I would come downstairs and she'd go, oh, wow, Anna Grace, oh, you're so beautiful, like a princess. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're so wholesome and pure and sweet. And she just kept going, oh, my mommy is my best friend. Like, you're my best friend. Oh, I love you so much. And it's also different because it's like, my sister and I are super close. So she's like an extension of my sister. And like, she just wants to like cuddle and snuggle. And that's like, I don't ever get that interaction with anyone else's kids, because, you don't want to like cuddle someone else's kid, because like that's weird. And obviously I don't have any small babies of my own. Like, Zane just turned 14. He's literally a teenager. Like, he's my homie. Zane's my stepson, if you're new here. So 2-year-olds are new to me, and she is the love of my life. I cried the night before we left because I didn't think I was going to be able. She was like, are you going to be able to make it to my 3-year-old birthday? Started sobbing. My sister looks at me like, oh my gosh, why are you crying? What's wrong? I said, I don't know if I can make it to Violet's birthday. My sister's like, oh my God, no big deal. Like, it's fine. And I was like, no, I'm devastated. I'm literally wrecked beyond, because I need to be there. I am unfortunately going to have to move home to Memphis. No, I absolutely cannot. I bought a whole ass house in Florida. I can't move home, but I feel like my heart was tripled in size. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this little tiny perfect creature. And it's not that I didn't feel that way about her before, and it's not that I don't feel that way about my other niece. It's just, there is something different that happens when you start to really talk and communicate. She stares me so deeply in the eyes. She's like, Anne Grace, I love you. And I'm like, well, I cried almost the whole time. Cried saying goodbye, cried for 3 days after. And then she FaceTimed me last night and was crying they couldn't make it to her birthday. And I said, you know what? I'll just do my readings in Memphis. And I just booked a flight home for a week. And I literally I was like, is this baby fever? Is this how it starts? Are you guys all long distance aunts too? Is it like the hardest thing of your whole entire life? Like, all of a sudden, I think my family thinks that I'm weird. I'm blowing them all up. I'm like obsessed. I'm like FaceTiming. I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss you so much. Everything she does is so cute and so perfect and awesome. And that's where I'm at. So I will be going back home to Memphis next week. We're going to be recording in Memphis, because I just am at a place where I'm like, you know what? I want to savor every second that I have with my family, because you know what? No day is ever guaranteed, right? That sounds kind of morbid, but in a way that I just want to savor this precious time with them, because I do feel that my career is changing. And also Austin and I one day will have a family of our own. And I just don't know if I can hop on a plane and see my niece for her birthday party, like whenever she wants. And whatever she wants, I deliver, because something has happened to me in the last week where I don't know what's going on astrology wise. Is this like a time where we just we're obsessed with our family? Because normally, yeah, I mean, I don't get to see them that often, like every few months, and I'm totally okay with it. But lately I'm like, gotta go back to Memphis, gotta go to Tennessee, gotta go see my people, gotta go see that little girl, and little baby Winnie too. She's so cute, but she's still like Velcro baby to my sister right now. And I cannot wait for her to start talking. I literally told my sister today, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And both of them are calling me crying to come home and hang out with them, because I'm going to be absolutely wrecked. I'm really pushing. I'm like, guys, what if we get a compound in another state? Because Austin, I don't know if I could get him to move to Memphis after we live on the beach. It's not, no shade to Memphis, by the way. Like, I freaking love Memphis. That's my hometown. Okay. That's where I'm from. Nobody can talk any smack on Memphis. Anyways. So, to wrap this up, I'm going through a massive heart expansion. I really understand, and really feel for any of my long distance aunts on here. Anybody who's living far away from family. Sometimes it is really hard, because yeah, I'm like, should I just close up shop and just move home and just like knit? I couldn't. I would go insane, but I do miss my family that much sometimes. And so if you're away from family and you're off pursuing your dreams, or maybe you don't have family anymore, I see you. I love you. I am sending you so many hugs, because it is, yeah, this life is precious. We've got to make time for what's important and not be so I always tell myself like not to get too caught up in the seriousness of running my own business in my life. And yes, I have responsibilities, but I really, really want to always try to remind us what matters, what actually matters, and really to beautify and make these small moments of your life, romanticize them, make them special, make them beautiful. That act alone actually regulates the nervous system as well. I've always said that romanticizing your life helps regulate your nervous system, because think, if you were being chased by a tiger, you wouldn't stop to pick flowers. No, that action of like putting flowers, adorning yourself, doing all these things tells the nervous system, it's safe. It's safe. You are safe. You can trust yourself. Remember that. And I love you. This is just like little whimsical girly pop chats that's going on in my life. And I hope you got a few takeaways, tips, tricks. As always, thanks for coming to class. Share this with a friend who maybe needs to hear it. I love you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye. As always, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel so called, or if it feels aligned, I would love for you to leave me a review here. I always love reading your beautiful thoughts and messages. And also you can find me at Anna Grace Newell on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I will link all of my courses, AG University course curriculum, in the show notes, along with, if you're interested in booking an Akashic Records reading with me, my scheduling link goes out in my newsletter. It goes out once a month and it's completely free. I would love to have you there. As always, I'm a proud professor, and you get an A+ for making it all the way through the end. Love you.